Derek, thank you very much for joining us. The conditions here in Spain are absolutely scorching. How's the camp been so far?
Very good. Listen, we can't complain about anything out here. The facilities have been outstanding. We're not even going to complain about the heat. You know, obviously we were well aware that the type of temperatures it was going to be here when we came out, and we've tried not to let that be a factor in terms of putting the work to the players. I don't think we can start to dilute what we want. There's a set programme that I want us to hit in terms of the sessions, the type of sessions we want to do. So players have just had to work through that, and that makes it a bit more challenging for them. But we need to do the work we set out to do, and thankfully we've been able to do that by and large without any real mishaps or injuries. It was only Stephen Kingsley had a little thigh issue going on that we just wanted to make sure there was no real drama with that, and he's been working really well with the physios, and he's due to back into training today. So a kind of clean bill of health for everybody going through it. And as I say, these types of camps, you know, I think it's always important. It's important for the players to be together, and obviously when you're making so many changes and a lot of the foreign lads coming in as well, I think these camps are even more invaluable. But players need to be really selfish at this moment. We're putting a lot of work into them, so we've got to control the food, we've got to control their sleep, we've got to control their rest, we've got to control the workload and take them away from that family environment, because a lot of boys have got young kids and I'm sure demanding wives, and it'd have to be selfish, professional, just look after themselves. So getting away on a camp like this in good facilities is first class, so we're really, really thankful for it, and our aim is to make the most of it while we're here.
Plenty of hard yards done on the pitch, but away from it as well, the social aspect of it, and it seems like the new signings have really bedded into the group really well.
Yeah, totally. You know, you're always looking for that interaction. You know, I'm always casting my eye to see who's talking to who, and it's so important for me that we have a dressing room that everybody feels comfortable with each other. Normally certain lads will gravitate to each other, but it's important for me we have a real unity there within the staff and within the squad. You know, and trips like this kind of lets me see for what it is, and you know, I don't feel as though that any of the lads who we've just signed have had any difficulty mixing them, and you have spoken to them, you see how they are with the lads. So it's something that we're aware of is important. But I do think that the lads have worked extremely hard. You know, pre-season I hated pre-season. I was actually not bad at pre-season myself, but I hated it nonetheless. And you've got to just give yourself the best chance to be ready for that first game proper. And that first game proper, no matter what type of pre-season you do, it can always catch you for that second wind, and you've always got to be ready for that. All we're doing is try to underpin the last 2 weeks' work, underpin what will be there for the season. And players who do their pre-season work get the benefit of that throughout the campaign. Players who miss a fair chunk of pre-season, I think are in danger of playing catch-up for the rest of the campaign. So it's good that we're ticking off so many sessions. Players have gave us everything as you'd expect. And no, I think when you look from the outside in, looking at the squad, you always think there's good lads there and good types, but you never really know until you work with them. So I'm glad to be reassured that my first impressions on the squad from the outside was a lot of what I'm getting from the lads now.
And of course, demanding sessions on the pitch, in the gym, but 2 friendlies to come this week as well, including against Crawley Town later. How beneficial is that, getting not just 1 but 2 friendlies in?
Yeah, I mean, I think when I was thinking back to as a player, going training camps, going abroad, and when we didn't have a game at the end of it, I hated it. You know, I always think you've got to have that carrot at the end of the week to play a game, and when we get an opportunity for a second game against St Mirren, you know, we took it. I think you'll see that the amount of numbers we've got, try to kind of make sure we get the minutes into the lads is important. So factoring that in, 2 evening kick-offs, although we're kicking off at the same time we've been training, the temperatures are still really high, so there is that part of it. But with the amount of numbers we have at the minute, getting that extra game I think is important. We've been doing some 11v11s in training, but getting a friendly game, 2 over here, another one when we go back, hopefully then that gives us enough minutes under the belt really to deal with Dunfermline at Tynecastle.
Looking ahead to that first competitive game against Dunfermline then, ideally, what would you like the team's fitness to look like after this week's camp in Spain with those friendlies under belt? What would be the ideal situation fitness-wise for the squad to be in? What would you like them to do?
Yeah, it's unrealistic for any team, any manager to expect players to be on point at this stage of the season. You know, nobody's going to be perfect, but it's a process of getting to that. You know, normally, and that's what I've always found with teams who are involved in European football at the start of the season, and they're trying to juggle the demand. They're trying to juggle the demand when the squad isn't quite really at full fitness as well. So we're not going to be where we're going to be 2 months into the season against Dunfermline, but we're going to be at a decent level. And everybody's the same. Dunfermline, they'll be the same. Nobody's going to be exactly on point, but there'll be enough in the tank for us to go and play hopefully in the manner we would expect of ourselves and try and bring a good level of performance to win a game.
Just finally, it's a topic of wide conversation among supporters, the future of Lawrence Shankland. Has there been any update to that situation?
No any update. Obviously, I'm leaving that for the club to try and resolve. Me personally, I'm not going to give up on it. Well, it's not a no. I think we have to keep that door open, and we just have to hope it can be resolved. But ultimately, we're not in a position that we can say categorically one way or the other. And while we still have a chance, we'll see where it takes us. But you know, I think I've made it clear, Lawrence is a boy I want to work with. As a manager, you set out your targets and you want to work with the players you want to work with. I'm well used to in my career not getting everything I want, but I would love the opportunity for Lawrence to be with us this season. And while we still have a chance, we'll hang on to that.